The coffee is still warm. That's the detail that breaks you. Not the silence, not the empty streets visible through the diner window, not the absence of traffic or birdsong or the distant hum of the city that used to be background noise so constant you stopped hearing it years ago. The coffee is warm because someone made it recently. Someone was here. And now they aren't. You wrap both hands around the mug. You sit in the booth you always sit in. Third from the door, left side, cracked vinyl on the seat that the owner always said he'd fix. The owner's name was Gerald. He had a daughter in Ohio and a dog named Biscuit, and he always refilled your cup without being asked. Gerald is gone. You don't know how you know. You just do. You've been awake for 4 hours. You woke up in your own bed, in your own apartment, to an alarm that went off at 7:15 the way it always does. You showered. You got dressed. You walked downstairs and outside, and the street was empty, and you stood there for a long time before your legs started moving toward the diner. You passed 14 blocks. You counted. You didn't see a single person. No joggers, no dog walkers, no delivery trucks, no one smoking outside the office building on 5th. No one waiting for the crosswalk signal to change, even though the signal was still changing, red to green, green to red, perfectly on schedule, doing its job for no one. You sit in the diner and drink the warm coffee, and you think, this is temporary. This is something explainable. A gas leak, a chemical spill, a mandatory evacuation you somehow slept through. In 2 hours, your phone will ring, and it will be your neighbor Lisa telling you she tried to knock, but you didn't answer. And everyone's fine, and they're letting people back in now. Your phone doesn't ring. You check it. Full signal. Full battery. No missed calls, no texts. You call your sister. It rings 8 times and goes to voicemail. You call your friend Marcus. Same. You call the police. It rings, rings, and rings, and rings. No one picks up. You sit in the diner until the coffee goes cold. The first day you spend looking. You walk every block within a mile radius. You go into buildings. You call out in lobbies and grocery stores and a hospital emergency room where the lights are still on and the equipment is still running, and there is a half-eaten sandwich on the nurse's station desk. Tuna. Crusts cut off. You eat the other half. You are not proud of this. You are very hungry. You find cars parked mid-lane. Not crashed. Just stopped. Doors open, engines off, like the driver stepped out for a moment and simply didn't come back. You find a stroller on the corner of Maple and 9th with a stuffed rabbit still tucked inside. You walk past it quickly. You don't look at it again. That night, you go back to your apartment. You lock the door. You leave the lights on. You do not sleep. By the 3rd day, you've stopped expecting to find anyone. You don't know when that shift happened. Somewhere between the hospital and the empty police precinct and the school where all the chairs were still pushed in, but the whiteboard still had that morning's lesson half written in blue marker. You stood there and read it. A math problem. Long division. Grade 4, maybe 5. Whoever wrote it was mid-sentence when they left. You have started talking out loud. Not to anyone. Just to fill the air. You say things like okay when you open a new can of soup. You say there we go when the gas stove clicks on. Small words that make you feel less like the last person alive and more like a person who is simply very alone right now, which is different, which has to be different. On the 4th day, you find the dog. He's a medium-sized mutt, brown and white, sitting outside a hardware store like he's waiting for his owner to come back out. He looks at you. You look at him. You sit down on the curb next to him, and he leans against your leg, and you stay like that for a long time without moving. You name him Gerald. The 2nd week changes things. Gerald finds the building first. You're letting him lead because it turns out that's more comforting than it should be, following a dog through an empty city, letting him decide where you go. He takes you 12 blocks north, then east, then stops in front of a glass office building and sits down. You look up. On the 14th floor, a light is on that wasn't on yesterday. You know it wasn't on yesterday because you've been watching the skyline from your apartment window every night, cataloging which lights are on timers and which ones stay dark. That floor was dark. It isn't dark now. Your heart does something complicated. You stand there on the sidewalk for a full minute. Then you go inside. The elevator works. You ride it to 14. The doors open. The hallway is empty. But at the far end, a door is open, and through it, light. You walk toward it the way you walk toward anything in this new world, slowly, with your hands visible, like you're trying not to spook whatever is waiting on the other side. The room is a conference room. Long table, 12 chairs, whiteboards on both walls. Someone has been using it. There are food wrappers in the corner, a sleeping bag rolled out under the table, a stack of notebooks, filled. Hundreds of pages of handwriting, small and careful. You pick up the top notebook. The first line reads, Day 1. I thought it was just my block. You sit down in one of the conference chairs. You read. Her name is Sue Jin. Was Sue Jin. You don't know yet which one is accurate. She was a data analyst. She woke up on the same day you did. Same circumstances. Same empty streets. Same unanswered phones. But she woke up on the other side of the city, and she spent 3 weeks convinced she was the only one. She wrote everything down. What she found. What she ate. What she heard at night, which was nothing. Which she describes in one entry as a kind of silence that has texture, that you can feel pressing against your eardrums like water. You read for 4 hours. Gerald sleeps under the table. Outside the window, the city is gold with late afternoon light. Buildings you've walked past 1,000 times look different from up here. Smaller, stiller, like a model of a city rather than the real thing. So Jin's notebooks go on for 31 days. Then they stop. The last entry is 6 words. I think I heard something downstairs. You go downstairs. You don't know why. You've already read the ending, or the absence of one, and you know she didn't come back up, because if she had, there would be more notebooks. But you go anyway. Because the alternative is to go back to your apartment and sit with the question, and you have learned in the past 2 weeks that sitting with questions is its own kind of erosion. The basement of the building is parking. 3 cars. Emergency lighting. A door at the far end, propped open with a brick. Beyond the door, a stairwell. Beyond the stairwell, a tunnel. It runs under the street. Utility tunnel, old, the walls a mix of concrete and older brick. The kind of construction that means it predates everything above it by 50 years at least. The lights down here are bare bulbs on a string. Someone strung them recently. The wire is new. Gerald doesn't hesitate. He goes in. You follow. The tunnel opens into a room the size of a gymnasium, and it is full of people. Hundreds of them, sleeping, eating, moving quietly between makeshift sections that someone has organized into zones, a medical area, a food station, sleeping areas marked off with rope and fabric, children sitting in a circle while a woman reads to them from a picture book, an old man playing chess against himself at a folding table. They look up when you enter. For a moment, no one speaks. Then a woman in her 40s walks toward you. She has short hair and ink on her hands, and she's moving like someone who has done this before, welcoming a stranger in, like she's been expecting you. She says your name. You stop walking. She says it again. Your full name. First and last. You have not told anyone your name in 2 weeks. You have not spoken to a living person in 2 weeks. She stops in front of you. She is calm in a way that feels practiced, like calm is something she has worked at and earned. Behind her, in the crowded underground room, people have gone back to what they were doing. Gerald is already being petted by a child in the corner. We've been watching you, she says, since the first day. You ask how. She turns and points up, toward the ceiling, toward the street level above it, toward the city you have been walking through for 2 weeks believing yourself to be alone. We needed to know what you'd do, she says, when you thought no one was watching. Her name is Dr. Reyes. She has a calm voice and careful eyes, and she tells you the rest of it slowly, the way you might lower someone into cold water, a degree at a time so the shock doesn't stop their heart. It wasn't everyone, it was most people. An atmospheric event, she calls it, which is not a term that explains anything, and she knows it, and she doesn't try to make it explain more than it does. 94% of the world's population lost consciousness for approximately 6 minutes on the morning of the event. Most of them woke up somewhere else, their bodies relocated. The current working theory involves something that happens at a cellular level during a specific kind of brief unconsciousness, something about magnetic fields and the particular electrical pattern of a person in the moment just before they come back. Most people woke up in different cities, different countries, different continents. The world isn't empty, it's just rearranged. There are people in your city who woke up somewhere in China. There are people from Mumbai sleeping in empty apartments 2 blocks from where you've been eating canned soup for 2 weeks. The global reshuffling, she calls it. A reset no one designed and no one can undo. You think about the stroller on the corner of Maple and 9th. The stuffed rabbit. You ask about children. She pauses. Children relocated to wherever their primary caregiver was in the moment before the event. If the caregiver was conscious, they're together. If not, she stops. You don't ask her to finish. She shows you a map that night. A real one. Paper. Pinned to a board in the corner of the room. It's covered in marks, locations of confirmed survivors, estimated relocation patterns, communication signals from other underground groups in other cities. There are 6 known groups like this one. People who found each other. People who started organizing. You are looking at the first sketched outline of what the world is going to become. She asks if you want to help. You think about your apartment, your alarm going off at 7:15. Your sister's voicemail. Your sister who is somewhere on Earth right now, in a place she didn't choose, probably standing in a street as empty as yours was, probably doing what you did, walking, counting blocks, looking for something warm. You think about the coffee in the diner. Still warm, someone had just made it. You think about Sujin's notebooks, 31 days of careful words, and the last entry 6 words long, and then nothing. You look at the map. You look at the 6 marks on it. You think, 6 is not enough. 6 is a beginning, barely, the first line of something that will take years and cost more than any of you can calculate right now. Standing underground in a city that used to hold millions and now holds a few hundred people who found a tunnel and a woman with ink-stained hands and a map with 6 marks on it. You think it is something. You say yes. Gerald from across the room looks up at you. You could swear he already knew what you were going to say.